Yes, word out.
I call this meeting of the Siloam Springs City Board of Directors for September 15, 2020 to order. Roll call.
Sappington,
Here.
Smiley,
Here.
Burns,
Here.
Hunt,
Here.
Rissler,
Here.
Coleman,
Here.
Carroll.
Here.
Would you please stand as Director Carroll leads us in our opening prayer and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Father, tonight we give thanks for another opportunity to participate in our local government, to be a part of a community that cares. We can be that blessing that you called us to be. Give us the words that we need to speak, that speak encouragement, speak love, and that we can continue the work that we have done in this great city. We can see that this year finish out on a good, strong note. And this we give thanks in Jesus' name.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening. And Board, I apologize for not, usually I give you a heads up, I'm getting ready to start it, but I looked down, it was already 6:30, so I figured we better that was the quickest way to get your attention. I apologize if I scared anybody with the rap of the gavel. All right, this time I'd like to remind everyone here, and thank you, public, for being here this evening, to silence all electronic devices. We want to make sure we don't interrupt anybody on one while they might be speaking to this board. Our first item on the agenda is the public input, and the public may address the Board of Directors regarding any item on the consent agenda or any city business not listed on tonight's board's regular agenda. If you'd like to address the board, please step forward, state your name and address, and we'll listen to what you have to say. Arthur?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Arthur Holbert, 20705 Highway 16, Siloam Springs. Mr. Mayor, Board of Directors, City Administrator. Want to cordially, officially welcome you guys to the Makerspace that will be open on Monday, September 21st. I also would like to invite the entire public. It'll be at 1 o'clock, September 21st on Monday. And I'd like to thank the city and the Board of Directors specifically for what they've done to make it possible for our city to have something special with 3D printers, laser engravers, woodworking, what have you. Look forward to seeing everyone on Monday. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Arthur. Anyone else? Being none, then we will move into our regularly scheduled items. First item this evening under our regular order of business is the consent agenda.
Oh.
The items on the consent agenda are as follows. A, meeting minutes from the September 1, 2020 workshop. B, regular meeting minutes of the September 1, 2020 board meeting. C, dedication utility easements for 812 West Elgin Street. And D, a purchase contract with the electric department for an excavator with Scott Equipment Company in the amount of $100,979. Board, what is your pleasure? Carol?
I would move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve consent agenda as presented. Is there any discussion on the motion? Being none, we'll vote on the motion to approve. Roll call?
Smiley,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Hunt,
Yes.
Rissler,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Carroll,
Yes.
Sappington.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Thank you. Next, we move into our regularly scheduled items. And we have 5 ordinances this evening. And these, all 3 are on their third and final reading. Ben Rhodes, our city planner, senior planner, will be giving you the information on all 5 at one time, but we will separate them once he has done that and it's over to the board and someone makes a motion, because each one has to be read separately. So we have to have a motion for each one of them. So, but you can go ahead and cover that, Ben.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the board. As the mayor stated, I'm Ben Rhodes, Senior Planner. So before you is the third and final reading for the annexation of the 5 enclaves. That's in wards 1 through 3. Staff's not received any additional questions or comments since the last reading, and we continue to recommend approval of the 5 ordinances, and we stand available for any of your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. All right. We'll start with the first one, Ordinance 20-20, third reading, annexation of Enclave A at West Villaview Drive and South Highway 43. Are there any comments from the audience? Being none, I'll turn it over to the board for comments and or questions of staff. Yes, Carol.
I move that we place ordinance 2020 on its third reading, the annexation of Enclave A West Villaview Drive.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there discussion on the motion? Being none, we will vote on the motion to approve. Roll call.
Burns,
Yes.
Hunt,
Yes.
Rissler,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Carroll,
Yes.
Sappington,
Yes.
Smiley.
Motion is approved. Philip?
20-20, an ordinance annexing certain lands that are completely surrounded by the incorporated limits of the city of Siloam Springs and for other purposes.
Thank you, Philip. Now, we'll vote. I'll entertain a motion to adopt Ordinance 20-20.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there further discussion on the motion to adopt? Being none, we will vote on the motion to adopt. Roll call.
Hunt,
Yes.
Rissler,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Carroll,
Yes.
Sappington,
Yes.
Smiley, Burns.
Yes.
Ordinance 20-20 is adopted. Next is Ordinance 20-21, third reading, annexation of Enclave B, 15589 Stevens Road. Do I have a motion to suspend? Just
Ask for the citizens.
Oh, I didn't. I'm sorry, I forgot to ask for the citizens. Any citizens have any comments? Either of you? Okay. Well, you can be either. Some are here in a role other than a citizen. No, there is none. So you can just say so moved if you'd like it once, because the main reason I read it is to make sure we had the ordinance read. That's it. So no, it's over to the board. Open for questions.
Mr. Mayor,
Reed?
I recommend that we place ordinance 20-21 on its third reading, suspending the rules and reading by title only.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion on the motion to approve? Being none, we'll vote on the motion to approve. Roll call.
Rissler,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Carroll,
Yes.
Sappington,
Yes.
Smiley, Burns,
Yes.
Hunt.
Yes.
Motion's approved. Philip?
Ordinance number 20-21, an ordinance annexing certain lands that are completely surrounded by the incorporated limits of the city of Siloam Springs and for other purposes.
Thank you, Philip. I'll now entertain a motion to adopt ordinance 2021.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. There's discussion on the motion to adopt. Being none, we'll vote on the motion to adopt. Roll call.
Coleman,
Yes.
Carroll,
Yes.
Sappington,
Yes.
Smiley, Burns,
Yes.
Hunt,
Yes.
Rissler.
Yes.
Ordinance 20-21 is adopted. Next is ordinance 20-22, third reading. Annexation of Enclave C, South Highway 16 and 3402 Highway 412 East. I'll entertain a motion to suspend.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there discussion on the motion to suspend? Being none, we will vote on the motion. Roll call?
Carroll,
Yes.
Sappington,
Yes.
Smiley, Burns,
Yes.
Hunt,
Yes.
Rissler,
Yes.
Coleman.
Yes.
Motion is approved. I'll now entertain a motion to, Philip, I'm sorry.
Ordinance number 20-22, an ordinance annexing certain lands that are completely surrounded by the incorporated limits of the city of Siloam Springs and for other purposes.
I think we've heard that at least 3 times now tonight, haven't we? All right, I'll now entertain a motion. Thank you, Philip. I'll entertain a motion to adopt on ordinance 2022.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there discussion on the motion to adopt? Being none, we will vote on the motion. Roll call?
Sappington,
Yes.
Smiley, Burns,
Yes.
Hunt,
Yes.
Rissler,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
Ordinance 20-22 is approved and adopted. Next is ordinance 20-23, third reading, annexation of Enclave D, 3,000 block of Highway 412 East.
Mr. Mayor.
I got it.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah. Is there any citizen here that'd like to speak or have a question regarding this motion, regarding this ordinance? Being none, I'll turn it over to the board for comments and/or questions. Marla?
Mr. Mayor.
Yes,
I'd
ma'am.
like to place ordinance number 20-23 on its third reading, suspending the rules and reading by title only.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there discussion on the motion to suspend? Being none, we'll vote on the motion to suspend. Roll call?
Smiley, Burns,
Yes.
Hunt, Rissler,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Carroll,
Yes.
Sappington.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Philip?
Ordinance number 20-23, an ordinance annexing certain lands that are completely surrounded by the incorporated limits of the city of Siloam Springs and for other purposes.
Thank you, Philip. I'll now entertain the motion to adopt ordinance 20-23.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there discussion on the motion? Being none, we will vote on the motion to adopt. Roll call?
Burns,
Yes.
Hunt, Rissler,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Carroll,
Yes.
Sappington,
Yes.
Smiley.
Motion is adopted. Ordinance 2023 is adopted. And our last one is ordinance -2024, third reading, annexation of Enclave E, 3870 Highway 412 East. Do I have a motion? Yeah. They won't talk, so I'm not going to even ask them anymore. No.
Kind of.
Is there anybody who wants to address this fifth and final ordinance this evening? Being none, I'll turn it over to the board for comments and or questions to staff or a motion to suspend.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Marla.
I make a recommendation that we place ordinance number 20-24 on its third reading, suspending the rules and reading by title only.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there discussion on the motion to suspend? Being none, we will vote on the motion to suspend. Roll call?
Hunt,
Yes.
Rissler,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Carroll,
Yes.
Sappington,
Yes.
Smiley, Burns.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Philip?
Ordinance number 20-24, an ordinance annexing certain lands that are completely surrounded by the incorporated limits of the city of Siloam Springs and for other purposes.
You thought I was going to skip you again, didn't you? Yeah. I'll now entertain a motion to adopt on ordinance 20-24.
So move.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion on the motion to adopt? Being none, we'll vote on the motion to adopt. Roll call?
Rissler,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Carroll,
Yes.
Sappington,
Yes.
Smiley, Burns,
Yes.
Hunt.
Yes.
Ordinance 20-24 is adopted. Resolutions. We have one resolution this evening. It's Resolution 43-20, amendments to the Employee Handbook. Adrian?
Thank you. Mayor, Board of Directors, City Administrator, Adrienne Barr, HR Manager. The staff has reviewed the employee handbook and recommends amending a few of the sections within the handbook. I'll highlight a few of those, please. Section 212 for residency, rather than having a residency requirement, it will now read for each department that has emergency response time to response time versus a residency. Section 404, deferred compensation, we're going to expand the compensation to include supervisors to 8% versus 6%. That'll increase the budget about $9,600. Section 421 is a new tuition reimbursement policy. The city used to have a tuition reimbursement policy years ago, and we are now bringing back a new one. Section 507 is for increase in standby pay, going from $15 a day to $25 a day. Staff is available for comments or questions.
Thank you, Adrian. Any comments from the audience? Being none, I'll turn it over to the board for comments and/or questions of staff. Yes, Carol.
I just want to thank Adrienne and her staff for updating the employee handbook. I think whatever we have, every once in a while, we do need to look at it and make some fine-tuned changes, and I appreciate the work that you did.
Anyone else? Yes, Carol.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion on the motion to approve? Being none, we will vote on the motion to approve. Roll call?
Holman,
Yes.
Carroll,
Yes.
Sappington,
Yes.
Wiley,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Hunt,
Yes.
Rissler.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Thank you, Adrian. Administrator's report.
Mr. Mayor and Board, there are a number of expenditures to report. I'll briefly go over them, but the police department are replacing 3 HVAC units for $32,500. In the electric department, some metal enclosures and additional metal ground sleeves for $45,000. That I need to report is was the high bid. The reason we didn't go with the lowest bids is because of timing. The lower bids, the delivery of those metal enclosures and underground sleeves were 29 to 34 weeks out, and the high bid, which was a local bidder, could get us the products in 9 weeks, and we need those products because we're waiting on that as part of the new construction that we're seeing within the city. Additionally, in the electric department, or excuse me, in the public works, we had some water pipes, 12-inch water pipe for inventory for $48,608. As part of the electrical improvements that are going along on Kenwood Street, electric department also needed base and stone to do some of the underground work out there for $38,025. Sanitation department was buying 10 20-yard roll-offs for $44,1216.10. And then in the wastewater services, we annually do a root control in the sanitary sewer lines. So for 2020, it was $25,000. It's not in the amount that I have to report, but it is a sole source because that's the only company that does that root control. And it's an ongoing project that we've been doing since 2015 to try to eliminate as many root balls within our sanitary sewer system. In the finance department, we are working to improve our ability to work from home due to COVID, so we were making some purchases as it relates to virtual workstations, and that was $35,662. For the August sales tax receipts, the city is up $133,000 or over 20.5% compared to the same month last year. Year to date, we're up over 14%. Compared to last year, and the county is up 6.7% on the month and 6.4% for the same time last year. I wanted to remind the public and the board that back in March of this year, the board adopted Resolution 13-20, in support of the extension of the half-cent sales tax, gasoline tax for roads. And according to the Good Roads Foundation, when they did a survey of Arkansans, 62% favored extending that half-cent sales tax to a permanent tax for the purposes of maintaining, repairing, and improving highways, streets, and roads and bridges. Based on the information that we received from the Arkansas Department of Transportation and the Arkansas Municipal League, the amount of money coming to the city from that tax has been approximately $350,000 a year, which is a big chunk of change for us in our street improvement program. The amount of money going to Benton County is almost $1.8 million annually for improvements to county roads and bridges. That money is split 70% going to the state, and the remaining 30% is split 15% between cities and counties. And then of that 15% is doled out based on population, so that's how we get to the $350,000 for the city of Siloam Springs. Without that half-cent tax, I believe, and I think the board did too with the passage of Resolution 1320, that without the continuation, the states and our counties and cities are going to have a more difficult time meeting the demands of rebuilding and maintaining our transportation infrastructure. And I would also note that the mayor and I both received a letter yesterday, or 2 days ago, yesterday, from the State Highway Commission, and they commented that assuming Issue 1 passes in November, the Highway Commission plans to commit $100 million for improvements to Highway 412 corridor, specifically between Huntsville and Black Rock, Arkansas, which, if you've ever driven Highway 412 across the northern part of the state, just around Huntsville, it turns back to a 2-lane roadway, and it's 2-lane all the way to Black Rock. And that is intended to do that over the next 20 years, but it's a huge improvement for northern Arkansas to have a major east-west corridor. So I just want to remind the public that that's going to be on the ballot in November, and would just ask everybody to vote on that issue. And lastly, I wanted to remind the public that we're still in the middle of the census. We have the kiosk in the lobby here in this building, and in the lobby in the Community Development Building. The census deadline was originally September 30th. However, lawsuits have been filed due to COVID to extend that date to October 31st. We don't know yet what the resolution of those lawsuits are, so right now it's still the end of September. So we would ask everybody who hasn't already completed the census, please do so. I forgot to look today to see where we are. Last time I looked, we were about 64%. I think the magic number that everybody's shooting for is 70%, so we've still got some members of the public who haven't filled out that census. So if you haven't, please do so. It means a great deal of financial interest to the city over the next 10 years in the 2021 to 2030. Thank you, Mayor. That's all I have.
Thank you, Philip. And I would imagine on that 412 between here and Black Rock, if you've never been to Black Rock, you may have and didn't realize it. The folks that are going to be the most upset by an improvement to 4-lane is probably going to be bikers, because they like a windy road, like a windy road in the fall when they come over this direction. But no, that's a much needed thing, and that money will be well spent on that. I'd be remiss if I didn't remind the board that, or the citizens, that picking time on 59 is this next week, not this coming week that we're in right now, but the following week. So I think there are 3 sites along 59 north of, starting out around Sherry Whitlock. There's one, and then there's a couple more up there. So looking for some deals, you can find them there. So I really don't have anything other than my responsibility of turning it over to Director Smiley to start director reports.
First of all, I want to congratulate the Chamber on the I've been out there. I haven't been there since it's been completed, but it's a wonderful opportunity for our citizens. I want to shout out to Chris Land as an employee of the city, and through some of the memos that I've been seeing, has converted an old sand spreader into a hot box to patch potholes, and I appreciate when we have our staff that think outside the box. We're replacing the sidewalk on the 600 block of South Maple, and that goes up to the school, and I think that's great. That's part of our goals. Because of the customer growth in the area of the Moss substation, has created the need for an additional transformer. The police department is taking applications for a police officer. And I would like to say that during an election year, it is common to hear many negative thoughts, even in local politics. But I challenge you to look around our community. We have a tremendous police, fire, and EMS department that keep us safe, and we thank them for their faithful service. We have a dependable electric service that is prompt when there is an outage. We have quality water and are upgrading that system as we speak. We have an updated wastewater system, a new library, and a variety of parks and trails. These are just a few of the quality of life that we have in our area. But the number one is our citizens. We have the best citizens in Arkansas, perhaps in the United States, and I appreciate each and every one of them. Please don't be swayed by vague innuendos, rumors, and misrepresentations of our community. If you have any concerns or questions, please contact me or reach out to any of our other board members if you so desire. Our phone number and our website, or our email address, is on our website, the city website. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Bob?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to express my appreciation to the city administrator and to Todd Simmons and Tyler Carroll for resolving a situation that could have been a bigger deal than what it really was, and it goes to show that our big corporations and our little businesses can cooperate with the city, and we can accomplish much through that type of cooperation. And I appreciate the efforts that all three of those people made. I want to read a thing that my wife showed me a little while ago. It was on and I got to tell you, I have no clue what this is, but it's a "What's Up, Siloam," so that's something that's on Facebook or somewhere. She got it off this computer and gave it to me. But it reads, "I just wanted to say a big thank you to the man that found our 16-year-old's wallet and delivered it to him, everything intact. We did not meet you, but we don't know who you are. We're so thankful to live in and be a part of such an honest and amazing community. Thank you." And these are just two examples of the fantastic people and environment that we share here in Siloam Springs. And it's it's a good town. It's a good town. We don't need to go backwards. We need to keep going forwards. And I look forward to doing that. And one other little item of interest, I would like to say happy birthday on Friday to Marla Sappington. She happens to share the same day as a birthday as my sweet wife, so happy birthday to both of you. And that's all I have.
Mindy?
Well, since I wasn't here at the last meeting, I've got about 14 pages worth to read tonight. Figure I needed to catch up.
Do I have a motion to adjourn? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn, Mr.
Mayor.
Okay, no, I do not have 14 pages worth of information, but I do have a couple of things to say. I want to echo what Director Coleman said about the appreciation for Mr. Carroll and Mr. Simmons and Mr. Patterson working together to resolve an issue. It's always nice to see companies working together, both the big and the small, and we're all working together to make things easier for everyone, the businesses, the citizens. So I appreciate the work they did on that. I want to thank you to the street crew for filling some holes in on Bellevue between Sycamore Heights and State Line. I had gotten a message from someone that was concerned about some pretty significant potholes, and we know that's a section of street in town that needs to be fixed, and it's on schedule for a more permanent repair, I believe in 2021. but we were able to get it, at least a temporary repair in there, so you didn't lose your car in some of the potholes. So that was good. Speaking of potholes, though, I mean, anytime I've been made aware of one and I've let the city know, they've fixed it very quickly. But just a word of warning, slow down. If you know a pothole is coming up, it's good to slow down a little bit. We have had concerns expressed about, feeling like they're losing their car in a pothole, but if you slow down, you can generally navigate it fairly well. Happy to get the pockets of property surrounded by city limits officially annexed into the city. Glad we got that worked out tonight. Great news regarding the sales tax. Kind of lets me know that we have most everything we need here in Siloam. So I'm happy to see that. It's part of the growth we've experienced, and it's paying off. So I'm happy to know that. Congrats also, like Director Smiley said, to the Chamber of Commerce for the makerspace. Looking forward to seeing that. And finally, little soapbox here. I was in Estes Park, Colorado during our last meeting. That's why I wasn't here. We took a little vacation, did a whole lot of hiking, and saw lots of animals, streams, lakes, beautiful scenery. What we didn't see was trash alongside the trails. And it was so nice not to see that trash along the trails. And it wasn't because there were a lot of public trash cans. People just knew and respected that you pack out what you pack in. So you take out what you take in. And I just want to encourage people. We have a beautiful state here, too. We have so many nice places in Arkansas. And right here in Siloam, we have the beautiful trail up at the city lake. We have a beautiful trail over by JBU. We have walking trails all over town. If you're out and you have trash with you, just take it with you when you go home. It really helps to keep the beauty of the surroundings. So I just encourage that. It's not hard to do. So thank you. That's it. On to you.
Thank you, Mindy. Brad?
I have time left after. That's awesome.
That was less than
Thanks for
3
coming
minutes.
back, Mindy. I appreciate it. Tahlequah Street is looking good. It's a good start. That street has a lot of needs to it. So if you've driven by there lately, they've completed a layover on part of the section of that. And then when the city administrator walked in tonight and I was writing notes down, he became immediately nervous. So now's his time to put on his seatbelt. Because I'm a big fan of East Main. I'm also a big fan of when we reach out to people in the community that have opinions about small business owners. I would just encourage us to remember it's not for us to judge where they go to church, what their social beliefs are. That's not what we do. They're a small business owner, and we need to support that. I love the project on East Main that they kicked up. I spend time down there when it's empty, but it was quite full the other day when it first popped up, and it was mostly JBU students. I could tell because they were just surprised to be out in public again. You could see that glow in their face. But I'm glad that worked out. But I just remember that we've got to start reading what we get in the mail or quit spending money on this stuff, because as we go through here, and as I read all these great articles, changing the city. So change the city, change the game. The principles of new urbanism. There's downtown Siloam right on that page. Then as I keep flipping through here, and I read these articles, and I'm assuming city staff is, recovery by design. We have to stop prioritizing engineering and code standards over quality of life. So I would just encourage us to read that, city staff to think about that. And I know some people that push the envelope a little bit, city staff isn't a fan of, but sometimes that's how we create change. And it's along with change and growth and development, and I mentioned this to the city administrator in a meeting a couple weeks ago. I've received some comments through social media on a PM message, not a social media site, just people chatting with me. We've got a problem, and our problem is simply this. It's time for the city to address quality over quantity in regards to housing in Siloam. We need to find a balance between duplexes and apartments. So I would encourage city anybody in the city and us board members, especially at large. If it's not in your ward, I'll use Ward 2 as an example. If you go out on Hyco Street and you'll look at some development that's happening off to the west, you'll see a middle-class subdivision going on. It's a fantastic place. And then you could go to some other areas in town where we've got a ton of duplexes going in, and even for me, when we approved it, I did not realize the vast quantity of that. The problem with this imbalance that is occurring, and it has occurred in Centerton and Lowell, and they had to kind of step back and reevaluate it, is that 10 or 20 years from now, we're going to end up with some management problems. It's not going to be Philip. It's not going to be us on the board. It's going to be somebody else that's sitting here. And these areas have a tendency to go to the side we don't want to see. So we're experiencing a few small city things that we think are big city things, like little armed robberies, that sort of thing. And right now they seem small, petty theft, petty crime. But as these areas develop, they tend to go to the downside. I would encourage you to look at Springdale and some of the growth and development they had 20 or 30 years ago and see what it looks like today. And so I embrace the enclaves. I embrace the development. I embrace the diversity. I embrace the change that's occurring and that challenges all of us. And I like people that challenge us as a city. I like people that challenge city staff and our ordinances, because that's how we create change. But I just have a concern that as we grow, I want us to, but we have to have that balance. Siloam will always be Siloam. You can't change that. I went to the corridor over the past couple of weekends and went on some bike rides, and trust me, no matter what we do over here, we're still Siloam. 20 years from now, we're still going to be Siloam. But I would just encourage us in this growth period to embrace it, but find the balance. Sometimes it's okay to say no to certain types of development. And that is all. Thank you.
Thank you, Preacher. Marla?
Good job.
Thank you, Mayor. I had a couple of people reach out to me, citizens. One of them was concerned that we're allowing a lot of houses to be built on smaller lot sizes, and they had a concern about that. So it kind of follows along what Brad was saying. We need to be more selective in what we approve, and because if it's going to become a management problem down the road, we need to address it at the beginning. And then I had another citizen reach out to me and said, thank you for the drainage problem south of Superior, that it was finally on the list to get it looked at. And they were excited about that. And then this is just, I've always learned more by observing. You be quiet, you don't say anything, and listen. I don't get on Facebook and blast anybody or say anything. I read and I see what's going on. And my concern came up to me when there was a gentleman that shared that he had just moved to Siloam, and he got into a banner with another lady, but they lived out south of the cell barn, out in there. And they had mentioned, how there were, drug people and all this stuff going on out there. And, there's misconceptions and misperceptions. And I think that we shouldn't be judgmental. We should look into it and assess it with an equal eye. And if there is something like that, then we need to address it with the city level. And I don't like, the citizens to come back and forth at each other and make a rivalry, because we want to come together. And I think if there are issues that need to be addressed, we need to reach out to our city officials. So that's all.
Thank you, Marla. Lisa?
Mine's going to be short and sweet. I'm just going to say happy fall, because it's coming. It's not here, but it's coming. And I'm enjoying the idea that we are going to get out and walk and do our bikes and not have a stroke and heat stroke. And so happy fall to everyone.
Thank you, Lisa. Bring it home, Reed.
I want to say thank you to those who participated in helping our city percolate today. Being able to take care of something on East Main that I think everybody was able to be satisfied with how it's working out. I'm glad to see that. November 3rd is coming along. I'd like to encourage everyone to exercise their right and vote. I think our country needs this right now. Looking forward to next Tuesday, the first day of fall. And with that, I will move to adjourn.
All right, I have a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Bob. All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there a discussion on the motion? Being none, we'll vote on the motion to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. We are adjourned 2 weeks. Woo pig.
I didn't